Hi, I'm Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic, and I'm here at the Common Ground Food Co-op today, and I'm going to be talking about peppers. So there's a lot of different kinds of peppers, but basically there's sweet peppers and there's hot peppers, but within those categories there's a lot of different peppers and a lot of different heat levels. So I've got sweet peppers would be like green peppers, red bell peppers, yellow, orange. Banana peppers would be a little bit hotter, not very hot, but those are considered a sweet pepper too. So here are some of those. Here we have a green bell pepper, which is kind of the classic pepper shape, but they do come in different shapes. And then a red bell pepper, which is more of an elongated pepper. So sometimes you see them in the classic shape, or sometimes you see them in different shapes like this. It's just a beautiful color. This is actually a bullhorn pepper, but it's a fairly sweet pepper too. And then you have your hot peppers, and those are kind of categorized based on Scoville units, which is an indicator of the heat of that particular pepper. Usually the smaller the pepper, the hotter the pepper. So I've got a couple of hot peppers here. I have a jalapeno. So that's everybody probably recognizes that one. And I have a Fresno pepper, which is hotter definitely than the jalapeno. So jalapenos I guess it all depends on, your experience with heat. Some people like stuff hot and would think this is not hot at all, but to me, this is hot. The Fresno pepper is quite a bit hotter than the jalapeno pepper, but there's a lot that are much hotter than this as well. Serranos are hotter and things like that. And of course you have your ghost pepper on the very far end of it that's super hot. So those are those. Nutrition-wise, they're very nutritious. They're low in calories, they're high in fiber, get a lot of vitamin C. So very nutritious, lots of variety of colors. I think some of them have beta carotene, which is a form of vitamin A. Some of them have lycopene, a decent amount of lycopene, which is an antioxidant, which is kind of healthy for the eyes and various things like that. When you're choosing peppers, you want to choose peppers that are firm and glossy, and not with wrinkly skin. If the skin is starting to wrinkle, they've probably been around for a while. If you have some at home that are starting to look like that, you could still use them, but they might go better into like a sauce or something like that, or go into your freezer to save for later if you can't use them right away. Sometimes you'll find peppers like this particular jalapeno has little lines in it. They're just kind of little light colored lines, and that's just how it grew, and that's perfectly fine. Vegetables don't have to look perfect, and those little lines would be fine to eat, and this is still good, firm quality. When you're getting ready to store them, you don't want to wash them until you're ready to use them, because that will make them go bad quicker. If you're not ready to use them, just store them in the refrigerator. You would want to kind of wrap them in damp paper towels and store them fresh, unwashed, refrigerated, wrapped in damp paper towels for 1 to 2 weeks. They should last okay if they're pretty fresh to begin with. Longer term storage, you probably want to freeze them. So just you would cut them up. So these are halved already. You would cut out the seeds, take off the stem, cut out the rib, and then you can freeze them whole, or you can dice them up put them in a freezer bag, or a nice tight-fitting container, a freezer container. They don't have to be blanched. A lot of vegetables have to be blanched before they're frozen. Peppers do not have to be. They're gonna get softer when they're frozen, so they might go better into a sauce or like a chili or soup or something like that. Or you could maybe put them in a stir fry, but you'd wanna let them thaw and kind of soak up some of the water that would have accumulated there, so that they'll actually stir fry and not just steam. So different ways to eat peppers. Raw, of course, is really tasty. For me, bell peppers, I'm not gonna eat hot peppers raw. You might want to, but not me. But The bell peppers are really good raw, just in dip or with hummus or in a salad or something like that. You can put them into a stir fry. Another way that's less common would be to roast them or grill or broil them. And that would really kind of bring out the flavors and kind of mellow them and make them more kind of sweeter and give a lot of a different aspect to the flavor. As far as between the different colors, the green bell pepper, the red and the yellow and the orange are pretty mellow. The green is a little bit less mellow, but also a good flavor. Other ways that you can prepare them, stuffed peppers is a big one. A lot of people make stuffed peppers. So what you would want to do would be to like cut off the top. If this was a whole pepper, you could cut it. I've already got it cut in half, but cut off the top, remove the seeds and the ribs that are in there, and then you can leave them that size and fill them with various things like rice or beans, cheese. You might do a combo of, like my mom used to make. She used to make ground beef with rice, stuffed peppers, and it's really delicious. And then you just roast them about 350 until the ingredients are heated through, or if you've put meat in there, until the meat is cooked. My mom used to put them in a tomato sauce. So they would be filled with meat and rice and set down into a tomato sauce and roasted until they were tender. And the flavor really infuses into the ingredients. So it does really have kind of a synergistic effect to roast them with stuffed, which is really delicious. So today I'm going to make a really simple recipe, kind of a homey recipe with potatoes. So I'm making roasted breakfast potatoes. I tend to, you can make these on the stovetop, but I like to make them in the oven because it's easier to control the cooking, and you can use a lot less oil with it that way. The oil tends to, in a pan, I don't know, mine get really greasy and they don't always get soft inside, or they get burned. So in a pan is just much easier to control, and you can get more done at one time. So I've got some diced up red potatoes here. You would want to make those into about a 1-inch dice. They're going to take longer to cook than the peppers and the onions. So you want them a little smaller than the peppers and onions so that, they get done before your peppers and onions burn. So these are diced up. So I have a couple more potatoes here. You could use different kinds of potatoes. You could use white potatoes, or you could use yellow potatoes. I like yellow potatoes a lot because they're very moist, and so they also kind of absorb less. They're a little less starchy and seem to absorb less oil. So I would just cut those up wash them and remove any kind of blemishes, and then just kind of cut them up into about a 1-inch dice. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm usually never exact with it. They're not exact sizes and shapes, so it's kind of hard to get that effect. There's a little stem end, so I'm going to cut that off because that's not going to be very tasty. And then finish cutting those into 1-inch dice, approximately. So I've got a good size amount of potatoes here. I could make, this might be like 4 servings, 3-4 servings for a family, for a nice breakfast. Then I'm gonna cut up my onion. So I'm just gonna peel it. I'm gonna remove the ends. And take off that outer tough peel. This peel can actually be used to color soup, but it never gets soft, so you would have to remove it out of your soup. It would give your soup a nice golden color. So, but I'm taking that off because we don't want that chewy stuff in our breakfast potatoes. And then I'm going to cut these in about probably about half, and then kind of quartered like that. I'll set those in there with my potatoes. And then our bell peppers, I'm gonna finish cutting them up and cutting out the rib and the seeds. And then I'll do a little bit bigger dice on those. So this is, the recipe calls for red and green, but the yellow goes good too. And so it makes a really nice, colorful presentation with your red potato skins, your bright red bell pepper and green bell pepper, and a yellow or orange, kind of whatever you have is good. Just use a sweet pepper for this. You could put hot peppers in it if you want, but might wake you right up in the morning. And cut out the ribs again. And same thing with this. Nice and crisp and fresh and glossy. It's going to be delicious, and it's going to smell really great when you're cooking it in the oven. And we are going to have a really nice, colorful presentation. I'm also going to put that all in there. That's all our veggies. And I'm going to do a clove or two of garlic, because garlic belongs in everything. I like to just crush my garlic before I peel it. Just be careful not to cut yourself. Cut off that dry end of the garlic and take off the peel. And then I'm just gonna kind of slice it and then mince it. Peppers, onions, and garlic are one of the best combinations for flavor. So then I'm just gonna get it kind of nice and fine, so we'll have the flavor infused all over the place in all of the potatoes and peppers. And I'm gonna put this in a bowl, a larger bowl. I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of oil. You could use olive or canola oil. Both are good, heart-healthy oils. Put all the veggies in there. So this is going to use a lot less, actually. You're going to get good coverage by stirring it up, and it's going to use a lot less oil than it would require to cook in a pan. So fewer calories. You've got some heart-healthy oil, but not too much, because it may be heart-healthy, but it's still high in calories. So now I have some good coverage on the oil. I'm going to do some cracked black pepper. You might do like some oregano or parsley on there as well. So you just want to stir to distribute your oil evenly and get good coverage on the vegetables so they get nice and crispy and brown, but not too oily. And then you're just gonna have your oven preheated to 425, and then just spread it on a sheet pan with, I like to use parchment paper so it doesn't get all burned and caramelized on and hard to clean. Saves your pan a lot too. Spread it out. Yeah, maybe it needs a little bit more black pepper or some favorite herb of yours like parsley or oregano. And then you're just gonna roast that in the oven 20 to 25 minutes. Use a spatula to flip it a couple times so it gets nice and evenly browned and crispy. And just 20 to 25 minutes, or until it's kind of brown and crisp and the potatoes are cooked through. Okay, so our potatoes, onions, and peppers are nicely browned and crispy, but not overdone. And so I'm just gonna, it's time to eat. Just kind of plate them up. Look how nice and colorful that is. Maybe serve it with some eggs or something like that. Would be really tasty. Make a nice, well-rounded, satisfying breakfast. My name's Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic. Thank you for watching.